Hello Orchid friends, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching my video, my channel is all about orchids. From what orchids I have, how I grow them, my thoughts on certain orchid topics, to what orchids in my collection are blooming, etc. So if you want to follow along my orchid hobby adventure, please consider subscribing to my channel and turn on the notification. Today in this video, we're going to take a look at my Phalaenopsis pulchra. This is a species, and this orchid has been in my collection for a little bit over 3 years, I believe. And this video is essentially an update video to give you an update on its progress since I repotted this orchid sometime last year or earlier 2020. So if we go back in time just a tad, after the repot around mid-March 2020, I see signs of the Keikis putting out a spike. So I was obviously very, very, very happy to see that. If I tell you, and if you follow my channel for a little while, you'll know, you will have seen the previous 2 videos I did on this orchid. And I think the first one was about the Keikis growing to be too heavy, and then the flower spike that this Keikis was growing on kind of snapped in half, so I had to use a stick to further stabilize it to provide more support. And then the video I did after that one was about the fact that I wanted to repot it, and I did, because at that time it had all kinds of crazy aerial roots, and I just really wanted to take a look at the roots system inside the media, but then also wanted to save horizontal space because its crazy aerial roots was just taking too much space. So I did that, but the funny thing was, after I made that video, I received a couple comments from my Chinese subscribers. Or actually, I don't know if they were subscribers or not, but I had at least one person telling me that I was being cruel. I repotted those lovely aerial roots into the media. The reason that they're aerial roots is that they want to be in the air. I can see where this person is coming from, but hello, it's my orchid. I get to decide what I do with them. No, I'm joking. Yes, but sometimes aerial roots are what you can pot into the container, the media, if you have to, and if you have a legitimate reason. I mean, I love watching, root porn. I love watching orchid roots hanging out in the air. I mean, the more the better. But based on what I saw, I really wanted to give this orchid a repot, and I'm glad I did, because it wasn't just about repotting aerial roots into the media. It was also about changing growing method. At that time, it was in semi-hydro, but this time around, it's potted in a container that has drainage hole at the bottom. And I still use double cup method, so if I really wanted to, I could still leave some water at the bottom, and that would kind of convert this growing method back into semi-hydro to some extent. But if I decide that I don't want to have any standing water at the bottom of the cup, I simply let the water drains out from the holes, and it's just a traditional potted growing method with inorganic media. Anyway, I'm glad that I did that, and I'm not sure if that person would ever come back to my channel to watch any of the update video on this orchid, but I'm really glad that I did, and I did not disagree with that person, but I just didn't think that I was in any way mean to this orchid. Okay, so this orchid, as you have already seen, it was growing a total of 3 spikes. 1 on the Keikis, 2 on the mother plant, except that the second one that it grew out was at the very bottom, at the base of the plant, and it's such a stubby small spike that just didn't quite continue to grow. And it also produced a flower on the Keikis spike, or actually I should say a bud, but that bud never really grew to be an actual flower. It just kind of dried up, and that's normal sometimes with orchids. Being at young age, Keiki is young, and maybe it just still doesn't know what it's doing or what it wants to do or what it should do, so it just kind of dried up. And that's okay, because this orchid, when I first got it, it was a near mature plant, or maybe a young mature plant, but it hasn't really bloomed. When it first put out this long Keiki spike, or the spike that the Keiki is on, I thought it was going to bloom, and I was really super happy, excited about it. But it turned out at the tip of it started to put out that Keiki, and ever since then, this orchid has been focusing on growing roots and leaves, and has never really focused its energy on flowering until this year, that now it's all of a sudden putting out 3 additional spikes. So I'm hoping anyways, that next blooming cycle with proper care, it would actually bloom for once. Come on, just once. Back to this orchid, if you look at the video right now, obviously at that time, it was still very active in terms of growing roots and leaves. So I really think that I made a right decision to repot the orchid, and now I have enough roots inside the media, and I just think that this orchid is much better off now than before. The only thing that I think I would do different this time is I will move it to a slightly brighter location, even brighter than the location I had it on my growing rack. I think I'm going to move it even closer to the window, probably on a window shelves. So hopefully by receiving any more, a little bit more sunlight, this orchid will, have a better condition for blooming. The inorganic media has also worked really well for this orchid, and I really enjoy, I actually enjoy, both organic and inorganic media. It just depends on the growing method. And for this one, because it has healthy roots, I use inorganic media, so I really don't have to worry about root rot, because I control the water that I give to this orchid to, no more than 1/4 cup. So I know for a fact that 1/4 cup, it's the amount, 1/4 cup of water is very easy for this orchid to have that wet dry cycle within a week in summertime. In wintertime, I can either scale back to 1/8 of a cup weekly, or I can simply give it 1/4 cup still in wintertime, but then only water this orchid every other week. And that will, not give me any root rot issue. And if there's no root rot issue with inorganic media, I really don't ever have to repot if I don't need to. This orchid has tendency to continue to put out roots and roots and roots. As you can see here, it's just going back to how it was before, with all kinds of crazy era roots, which I love. But I just wish that it would flower for once for me, because I really want to see pulchra flower in my collection. Overall, I think pulchra is a vigorous grower, but for some reason it hasn't bloomed. But now that I have 3 spikes, 1 for the Keiki, 2 for the mother plants, maybe, just maybe, next growing season, next flowering season, this orchid will outperform what it does this year. Now, a quick polling opportunity. Do you think I should cut off the 3rd spike, the bottom spike, because it's so small and it hasn't really grown all that much? You think I should cut it off so it would focus its energy on the primary spike as well as the Keiki spike? Or I should just leave it alone, let it be, and see what it does? Let me know in the comments section down below the video, and we'll see what most people think I should do. This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video. Ciao!